So, people have been asking me, hey, how'd you get into the tactical training? How'd you get into weapons and pistols and different things like that? And, some people were kind of surprised to see me kind of doing this stuff and now kind of posting this stuff a little bit more. I guess, first of all, I find it interesting. It's something I've really fallen in love with. I guess where it started was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I was hanging with Ryan Hall, and Ryan asked me if I wanted to go shooting with him. And for those that don't know, Ryan's one of the best jiu-jitsu guys in the world, one of the best martial arts minds out there. Been a close friend of mine for a long time, and I was like, yeah, let's try it. I only shot guns a couple times, and it was some like a shotgun and some like clay shooting or random stuff. But just I was always so focused on martial arts that I never really had an interest in shooting guns. And after I retired, I had some more time, and now that my body's kind of experiencing more injuries and not able to train the way I used to, I was like, hey, maybe this can be a hobby. So, shot with Ryan, had an absolute blast, no pun intended. And I think it was maybe a while after that I ended up getting a Glock. And more than anything else, it was kind of something that I kept in my safe and just had there for whatever reason. Didn't train too much with it, but then I had it there, and I was like, I have a little bit more time now. Especially during the kind of COVID times, that it's like, hey, maybe this is something I can kind of practice a little bit. So practiced a little bit, and it wasn't until I moved to North Carolina that I really started training. So I would say it moved to North Carolina, and then about like 8 to 10 months after that, went to a range, point blank range in Matthews. Really cool place, and started shooting a little bit more. And met a buddy, Jared Paula, who was running the range, and kind of linked me up with a bunch of different people, and made some different connections. So I had an opportunity to kind of learn more about pistol shooting, rifle shooting. Met various people in law enforcement and military as well, who were really helpful in bringing me down that path. Met Nicole Thurman and Antonio Rivers at A&R, and started doing some tactical stuff, and kind of was seeing what they were doing, and kind of started integrating a lot of like the jiu-jitsu and martial arts aspect with weapons, and weapon retention, and started being exposed to some of the competitive style of shooting. One of the guys that Jared Paulo introduced me to was Scott Jelinsky, um, who's a great coach and mentor, who I did one of his classes, and learned a lot, and was just fascinated by it, and really started training a lot more after that class, and on a regular basis. And it got to the point, like just like with martial arts, where it became this thing that I was kind of thinking about it every single day, maybe all day, most of the day, and it just became not like a passion, but more of an obsession. And that tends to happen with me, where I'll get into something and I'll just kind of go head first and go way down the rabbit hole as far as I can, and learn as much as I can. Um, you know, Something that's really intriguing to me is are technical skills that need to be figured out physically, mentally, spiritually. So weapons, pistol shooting, rifle shooting, to me, it really is an extension of martial arts. It is martial arts. And like I said, because maybe my body physically can't do the martial arts like I used to, or like how I want to, which is every single day, all the time, um, pistol kind of has filled that void for me specifically. I love rifle as well, but I feel like there's so much more to learn with pistol for me. It's a little bit more interesting to me. So had a chance to work with other people in the sport. I think competitive shooters are the best shooters in the world. So I think that's an interesting thing. A lot of people tend to think, oh well, this guy is a Navy SEAL and does this or does that, and he's got to be a master of pistol, and they're definitely good. Don't get me wrong, and they can be very good competitive shooters as well. But what I find is it tends to be people out there who are civilians who have unlimited amounts of money or a lot of access to ammo and money, who end up becoming the best shooters in the world because that's all they need to focus at. You know, for military guys, if they need to go to their pistol, something probably has gone very badly. Their primary weapon is going to be a carbine or a rifle, right? So, um, but anyway, they're very good as well. So, you know, once I kind of understood that about the competitive shooters, like, you know, the USPSA guys, the IDPAs, world champions, national champions, I started to seek out that information and that knowledge. Trained with Mason Lane, a guy from kind of my neck of the woods over where my family is, New Hampshire. Mason Lane is a 6 hour sponsored shooter, one of the best in the world, and young guy, you know, in his mid to late 20s anyway, like 26, 27 years old, super talented, very articulate, very smart. And it's his life. You know, he knew he wanted to be a professional shooter since he was 16 years old, or maybe even earlier than that. And once I found that out, I was like, that's a guy probably who is investigating a lot. And saw him out when I was out back east visiting my parents. Loved the experience, and again, he gave me some really good drills and things that I can work on. That ultimately led me to, even before that, I was looking a lot online and sought out information from guys like Ben Steger, Joel Park. Purchased some of their books as well. Found it super interesting and realized I wanted to train with those guys. Matt Pronka, a guy who is, has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to, the military side of things, and also with competitive shooting. And shooting is shooting, really, isn't it, at the end of the day. And when you realize that, like, understanding the principles and fundamentals of what is going on is the most important thing, it becomes a lot easier for you to find the people with the right information, in my opinion. And that's a big thing. The internet's it's an awesome place. It's an awesome thing. There's some bad things about it too, but finding and sifting out, where the right information is, can be overwhelming for a lot of people. And a lot of times, we think a certain thing or a certain person is the one that has the information because they have a certain name or they have a certain background, and they like, oh, that's got to be the thing. He sounds like he's saying the right things, and he's, yelling the right information, or he's speaking with a lot of confidence. Well, that's not always a great indicator of who knows the right information. And also understanding that it's not everybody has access to the information. You not only want to find people who have good information, you also want to find the people that are seeking more information and trying to find out more about what they already know. And maybe knowing isn't the right word. Learning. What you want to seek out the guys that are kind of constant learners and constant students. I think there's a saying out there that one of the biggest impediments to learning is knowing. So when you think you know a certain thing, it's hard to kind of progress past that. And we constantly need to be tinkering and stress testing and questioning ourselves as to what those answers are. And then there's the aspect that we've talked about this before in previous lives of, like, what are we chasing? Well, we're definitely chasing principles and we're chasing efficiency. Uh, and efficiency is very important because it leads to more composure. It makes it way more repeatable. Um, it's like your ability to lift, let's say, heavy weight. If I did, a 500-pound bench press, I cannot do a 500-pound bench press, by the way, not even close. But let's say I did that, I probably wouldn't have a whole lot left after that. Or I certainly couldn't do 30 reps, right? Of 500 pounds. I don't know a lot of people that can, right? So there's so much energy involved in that, that I can't do that over and over and over again. And the same goes with technique. It's like maybe I have one good round grappling or standing up and boxing with you, and then after that I'm done. It's like, well, okay, I did great. I'm kind of like the 5-minute hero, the 3-minute hero. No one wants to be that, right? You want to be able to know that stuff and repeat that stuff round after round after round. When you see that, then you know that that person knows something. That they have a certain level of technical knowledge, technical information, where they can do it over and over again and do it easily and make it look easy. That to me is really interesting. So seeking out those kind of people is the way to go. And it's not always easy. There's a lot of great competitors out there that I don't think are great teachers. There's a lot of um, law enforcement and military guys that, um, you know, maybe they don't actually have the experience that you think, or so again, you want to be around people that are seeking out that knowledge all the time. And I've been really lucky that I've been able to learn from some of the best minds, in my opinion, around. And then for me, then it's on me, right? They can't, and I've said this before, you can't like be bestowed this information and be like, here you go, son, you know everything, my child, go on and become a ninja. It doesn't work that way. You have to put the work in. And for me, it's like, that's where everything kind of merges together, and then kind of magic happens over time. And I it hasn't been easy for me. I put in a lot of work into shooting. It's been a lot of fun though. So that's kind of where that came from. It's a passion that really became an obsession, and I'm learning something all the time. So I will be posting more stuff. If you guys follow me on social media, I'll be posting more stuff, here and there about it. I tend to become, I'm more of a private person, but I do like sharing some of the things that I'm doing. And I also know that there's other people that are interested in that stuff. I've been seeing that a lot more. Like when I'm posting things, people are like, oh, I had no idea that you're doing that. Like, can you talk about grip or whatever? And while I can, I think there's a lot of great information out there you guys can seek out. I will do my best to kind of explain some of those things over time. If you guys are interested, again, ask questions. Let me know if there's something that you want to know about my shooting journey. Please shoot your questions my way. And yeah, so training a lot. I do dry fire. I talked about this. I try to get 6 days a week in if I can. A lot of times it's 7 days a week. Sometimes if I'm super busy, it's just 5 days a week. But my goal is at least 45 minutes of actual training, not like 45 minutes of me like walking around, like looking at stuff or being on my phone or like, you know, looking at hot chicks at the gym. It's I'm actual doing 45 minutes of work, of working at various drills and things like that. And sometimes it goes, an hour and a half. So it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's something where I always feel like I'm doing something wrong. Right now I feel like I've gotten a lot more accurate, a lot faster. My vision's better. But still, the thing is the better you get at anything, the more you realize you need to go. And I think it's super helpful seeing world class people, um, at the highest level to go, okay, I want to get there. That's where I want to get to. And then you realize that, yeah, you don't know too much and you're not as good as you think you are. So that's been a lot of fun. And just in my head, whether I can attain that or not, in my head, that's where I want to be. Um, so I always have set my goals pretty high. And then, I'm going to be competing. Actually, this week I have two matches for the first time. Super excited about that. Finally got involved in some matches for the USPSA. And yeah, I'm gonna try to send it, go as hard as I can, and then I'll, inevitably I'll be really, angry at myself and probably train even more. So that's kind of been the story of my martial arts in general. It's like, uh, you know, go as far and as fast as you can, test yourself, fall on your face, repeat. So
So,
yeah.
so if I wanted to study red dot with you, is there any upcoming opportunities?
Good question, Nicole. See, I always forget about this stuff. I'm like the worst marketer of all time. Okay, so yeah, and then I'm actually going to be teaching my first pistol class ever. I'll be teaching over in Matthews at point blank range. And for those that have a red dot on their pistol, who want to learn about red dot, I certainly don't pretend to have all the answers, but I am on that path. I'm trying to learn as much as possible. There's been a lot of things that I've learned, mostly from other people, that I just blatantly stole from everybody else, and some stuff that I've kind of figured out on my own, and I'll kind of do my best to put it in my own language. And if there's other analogies from people that I like, and lessons that I've learned, I will certainly share that, some of that stuff with you.
So what's the date of that class in Matthews, North Carolina?
Thank you. That is going to be February 22nd. And it's going to go from, I think, 8:30 to like 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So get there about a half an hour early. I think I'm asking everybody to bring like around 500 rounds if you can. So bring at least 500 rounds. We're going to, go through, again, talk about the principles of shooting, how you can find your dot, even though you're not really finding your dot. You're placing your dot to where you are looking. And I think that's kind of one of the best ways to look at it. But so we'll talk about those things. It should be, you should be so good at it that to the point where I can just point and the dot is there wherever I'm looking. The dot's just going to arrive there. And you kind of need to build your index, your grip, and everything consistently to be able to do it at speed every single time. So again, just like everything else, you'll get some information, and then you have to put the work in. And again, I see so many people that carry pistols that aren't, it's like it just sits there and gets dust, collects dust. So keep working on it. But I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. If you guys are interested, I'll see you over at Point Blank Range in Matthews, and we'll have a lot of fun talking about the Red Dot pistol. And that's it, guys. Thank you.
Cool. You can register at pointblankrange.com.
That's it.